Well, hello, and welcome to the Mediocre Arknights Operator Guide featuring Read the Flame Shadow, with some nice assets. No, not those ones. There we go, Tail Gang, rise up. The Incantation Medic is an attacking medic. Whoa, I know, revolutionary, but not to worry, she still heals. It just scales off half of how much damage Read does, and restores the health of an operator within their attack range per hit. This does mean that healing might not be as consistent as you'd like and will depend on how much damage is outputted. At least the saving grace is that this subclass deals arts damage, which is a bit nicer on the damage scaling end compared to the physical variant. Talent number 1 is quite the debuff. Each attack has a 30% chance to apply a thing called Cinder, lasting for 6 seconds. The weaken itself reduces attack by up to 20%, nice for those hard-hitting enemies, and about a 30% arts fragility, quite the rare debuff. Increasing arts damage taken, which does include Reed herself since she does deal arts damage. The second talent grants extra healing to Reed specifically. How much exactly? So you know how half of damage dealt is healed to an operator? Divide that by 2 again, and that is how much the Fire Lizard heals. For the ones that don't want to math it out, it is a quarter of damage dealt. Skill 1 increases attack and attack speed by up to 45% and 45% respectively. I have covered this exact skill many times now on the channel, and it's a skill 1, you have very little reason to use this over the other 2 skills. One of them being skill 2, Wither and Thrive, which gives 2 friendly operators in Reed's attack range some neat single target warm balls of fire. Each ball hit deals arts damage to adjacent enemies and triggers the incantation medic's damage-based healing every 1.5 seconds on the ally the fireballs are spinning around. This skill might be worded a bit weirdly cause I'll be honest, I don't think it's actually 1.5 seconds per hit, more like 3 hits over the course of 1.5 seconds. I've looked at my skill 2 clips several times and it does kind of look like each fireball goes off every half second. This is one-time speed, they're just chugging along. There is a bit of a targeting priority order of operations with this skill. Priority goes to melee units followed by your other ranged units. This skill also has a surprisingly lowish SP cost, coming out more times than you might expect. It's a great on-demand form of sustain if the healing from Reed's normal attacks alone is not enough. The actual range of the friendly fire reaches the 4 adjacent tiles and fires off one at a time and will refresh when they can't fire off anymore, so you don't have to worry about exhausting your load early. Regarding the damage itself, it's fantastic, so with some good positioning you can wedge the enemies between the 2 sets of fireballs to really crank up the damage. Ember of Life is our skill 3 and buffs up Reed's attack moderately, attacks 2 targets at a time, and rigs the chance for the Cinder talent infliction chance to 100%. For debuffs aplenty, all for 30 seconds. The same talent debuff gets a boost in the form of lasting until skill 3's duration runs out, and burn damage over time. When enemy units are taken down while affected with Cinder, they explode, dealing damage to nearby enemies and spreading the Cinder debuff to those hit. Your quintessential 6-star flashy skill, and very satisfying to look at. Getting that exploding chain off is amazing for clearing out low durability enemies in a literal flash, while dealing a good amount of damage to the tougher targets nearby. It is an absolute visual feast for the eyes, or you just get a massive lag spike. There is no in between. Guaranteed debuffs on many enemies means that your arts damage dealers will hit harder, or just for Reed Alter herself, remember she also benefits from the arch fragility. And just a quick technicality, the explosion happens regardless of who gets the kill, it does not have to be Reed herself. So, should you build Reed the Flame Shadow? First off, yes, cause I'm biased, but Reed does a lot. Just to tally it up, you've got damage, healing, and debuffs. Plenty of it given Reed can attack and do damage consistently enough. Skills do help increase that healing, but this is something you'll have to watch out for if you're relying on only Reed for healing. If an enemy is sieging from afar, there isn't really anything Reed Alter can do in the way of healing, unless there are enemies in range to hit. A secondary form of healing would be pretty beneficial, and I don't mean exclusively a second medic. Any other operator that happens to heal reliably enough, Guardian Defenders, Bard Supporters, Podenko's Skill 1, anything of the like would help a lot for these situations. I've also found Reed the Flame Shadow to be a fantastic choice in the Integrated Strategies game mode. Personally, she ends up being one of my top picks when playing, and a big reason for that is her multi-role compression. Need damage and healing when you only start with 3 operators, or utility down the line for those harder maps up ahead. This Draco waifu has you covered. Finally, here are Reed Alter's stats, potentials, trust bonuses, base skills, and my E264M6 Reed, likely toppling over many objects with that spicy tail. Remember, it's not about the size, it's about how you use it. And that was the Reed the Flame Shadow guide. That sounded more redundant than it needed to be. Very enjoyable operator to use. Thanks for watching, everyone.